Getting into the tech industry is very interesting and intriguing for the simple fact that the tech companies run the world. Now, one of the things that helps the tech companies run the world is, of course, all of the failures. Because in life, you fail more than you succeed. But at the end of the day, you live to fight another. Hopefully, I don't know if that's exactly how the saying went, but y'all get what I'm saying, right? Anyways, Apple, in their other venture as far as trying to get into the streaming space, seemingly is not going so hot, right? As Apple spent over $20 billion on original content for Apple TV Plus, but has only garnered a small audience. Now, the reason that you see the Netflix image up here, which Analytic Dreamz video on Spotify to see the video along with the audio. But basically, the reason why I have Netflix up here is because of the simple fact that Apple TV attracts just 0.2% of the US TV viewership. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 0.2% of the US TV viewership. And keep in mind, this is Apple. Most of y'all, actually, as far as my listening audience, majority of y'all have an iPhone in your pocket as we speak. So of course that doesn't correlate with the other ventures, as with the streaming, they only have 0.2% of the US TV viewership. I just want to keep reiterating that because of the simple fact that Netflix currently has 8%. So that's a little bit more than 0.2. My math is correct, as Netflix generates way more viewership than any streaming platform, but especially Apple TV, even with them putting $20 billion into the process of creating original content for Apple TV. So why am I saying all that? Basically because Apple has said no more overspending on original content, because obviously the game plan isn't working. I mean, as far as investing into big name projects like Martin Scorsese, that's not how you say it. Scorsese. How y'all? I don't even know how to say that name. Y'all probably laughing at me. I completely butchered that. I know, but it's all right. I'm going to keep it in there. You know what I'm saying? We're just going to act like I pronounced it right. So y'all know who I'm talking about, right? The Martin guy. And Ridley Scott, as far as their films that they directed, they put Apple TV specifically put like $5 million into Ridley Scott and Martin films. And then you had the World War II series, Masters of the Air, which Apple TV put $250 million into. So despite these enormous and ginormous investments, only a few projects have really went viral on the Apple TV platform. Some of them, like Ted Lasso, had made the Nielsen's top 10 streaming shows, which, of course, I don't report on Nielsen too often, but if you want a legit and credible source as far as what is impacting the masses when it comes to streaming, Nielsen's list of the top 10 streaming shows and just their statistics overall is similar to how Billboard is when it comes to comparing the biggest artists in the world musically. So with that being stated, if you wanted to follow a creator that's like heavily, like basically all they focus on, I would highly suggest Grace Randolph from her YouTube channel, Beyond the Trailer, because that channel is phenomenal. So there's really nothing more to say other than Grace is just an icon in general. So with that being said, let's get back into the tech world, as Apple's plan currently is to, one, of course, reduce the upfront payments for the new shows, give quick to cancel unperforming series, as far as like noticing something isn't working and then not trying to make it work, not trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. I think that's how they, anyways. And then of course they're going to delay certain products and productions for managing costs. And we've seen this in other companies when it comes to movie and TV shows. I mean, the disparity of Marvel content is simply for the fact that the overproduction simply hurt the brand. So now they're going in the way of less is more, as you've seen with Deadpool and Wolverine literally being one of the more profitable movies of all time, and the #1 R-rated movie when it comes to engagement ever. I think it passed like a Jesus movie, which is crazy that a Jesus movie is R-rated, but that's besides the point. So with that being said, the whole thing with the overall plan of Apple TV is to simply partner with studios so they can share financial risk. Similar to when I covered Disney Plus and HBO negotiating some type of partnership when it comes to their streaming platforms. Because what these big companies are quickly realizing is that Netflix is lightning in a bottle, and catching that twice is kind of hard, as they've tried, they've copied and executed on a model that seemingly Netflix has used, but like I said with the viewership, Apple TV specifically only has 0.2% of the US TV viewership, with Netflix leading the pack with 8%. If you look at the other streaming services, it's not even close. Netflix is by far and away the most popular streaming platform still to this day. Remember when everybody was saying, oh, they should just do away with cable TV and Disney should make their own streaming platform and they'll be just like Netflix. They have Frozen. They have all type of nostalgia IP as far as if you want to watch the old Disney shows like Pinocchio or Dumbo, or I don't know why those are the first two that came to my mind, or Peter Pan, just the nostalgia like factors that plays into Disney. People just automatically assume they could overtake Netflix when it comes to making their own streaming platform. And what they've all realized is that it's a little difficult to mimic the success that Netflix has created when it comes to the streaming platform. So, of course, one of the biggest things as far as the budget cuts for Apple TV is that the second season of Severance saw production costs soar to over $20 million per episode, prompting Apple to cut future budgets for the show. I mean, talk about a reality check. So, licensing content is one of the focal points for Apple, but now, well, it used to be one of the focal points for Apple TV, but now Apple TV plans to start licensing third-party content to broaden its catalog. So a significant shift from its original game plan as far as production-wise. And then, of course, as far as the market comparison, I mean, Apple TV has fewer top 10 shows than any other streaming platform, even behind their smaller competitors like Paramount Plus. So as far as the licensing of shows via third party, I think that that's one of the ways they could combat Netflix's dominance on the streaming platform, as Netflix has success with licensing older shows. And example, they paid like $500 million for Seinfeld, so that was a big increase in overall engagement just for the platform, but it did cost a hefty bag as they paid $500 million for Seinfeld. Just a little pocket change, nothing too serious. And then, of course, people are now realizing that's the importance of keeping such a ginormous audience via a robust content library, which, as you can tell with Apple TV, if y'all even, by the statistics, most of y'all don't even have Apple TV. But if you do, that's basically what's lacking and why people are choosing other competitors over Apple TV. And as far as the budget, that's the main thing that Apple TV is focusing on, as once again, they're cutting a lot of budgets. And it's similar, because I don't want to just pinpoint Apple. It's similar to what studios like Disney, HBO, plus Paramount, I think it was HBO Max. I think that's what it's specifically called. But basically, they're all cutting budgets simply for the fact that they just can't compete with Netflix no more. And it kind of just showcases how much of a lightning in a bottle Netflix is, as they still have a supreme dominance over the streaming industry. And if you want to know why I think streaming is failing, it's simply for the fact that one of the reasons people went to streaming is because the alleged sites, I'm not going to say what they are, of course, because I'm not the police, but there's a lot of sites out here that gives you up-to-date content for free. Let me just put it like that. So whenever you have cable and you're paying, I don't even know, I haven't had cable in forever, but I think it's like $20, $30 a month, maybe even more. It's probably more. And then you get a plethora of companies as far as like their shows that they license out to cable, and it's all in one place. Instead of paying that monthly fee, there was this thing called the Fire Stick that came out. And then that combined with the alleged sites made it to where you could watch anything you wanted for free 99. I mean, what do y'all think people are going to choose, right? So when streaming platforms came around, as far as the Netflix taking the world by storm, all the companies was like, oh, this is the way you combat piracy in the entertainment field as far as the competitor of cable. But guess what? I'm not saying it was completely wrong, because I think the thought is right. I think having to try something and then maybe failing or succeeding is pivotal to lifelong evolution, because if you're scared to fail, then how can you ever succeed, right? So one of the biggest things that I want to give as far as tidbits on the overall status of the streaming era is that with the raises, the rise of subscription prices makes it to where the alleged sites are just going to gain even more popularity. I mean, I was watching the Joe Budden podcast, and that's like one of the biggest podcasts ever. And they was out here naming certain sites that had free content as far as live sports. Let's just put it like that. And it was just naming the website. I was like, there's no way these people out here just blowing up the spot. Like, do y'all not know that if the U.S. government ever catches the owner of those streaming platforms, they are going to do ungodly things to them? So that's why I'm gonna leave it at. So anyways, click my link tree in my bio. Let me know one of my social medias. What do you think about the whole Apple TV and it's just downfall and Apple's new plan of cutting budgets? And if you're really into the streaming platform as far as watching TV and movies, what is your favorite streaming platform? And also, what do you think that these companies can do to hopefully someday compete with Netflix in their streaming world dominance?